We're gonna do. We're gonna make some music. It's not a bad thing, right?
Never.
So this is what kind of reinforced what I was talking about earlier. I know some of you guys were there and some of you weren't, but we have some analog mics and some digital mics, the exact same microphones. The only difference is some of them have an A to D converter in the mic and some of them don't. So we're gonna just kind of record A, B, listen back, compare. I can talk about some of the differences, and I went into it a little bit earlier. And I basically wanted you guys to hear the differences. Me talking about it and showing the A to D converter on the screen is one thing. Hearing it's a whole different story. So that's really what this is, and it's more fun, but this is more educational. You know, the proof is in the sound. So something is cool but sounds like garbage, then why bother? So, and I'll give you an idea of what we got going on. So we're going into the LE rig now, since that seems to work, and the HD rig did not seem to work, which is not unusual. So for digital, this is what we got for digital. This guy right here, the silver one on the outside, it's a Neumann KM184D for digital. And you guys have the KM184 analogs here, right? I think you said?
Yeah, we got the KM, 5 of them or something.
Oh, the KM100 series.
KM100 series,
okay,
yeah.
So basically the same series. Right next to it, on this little stereo bar, is the analog version, the KM184 analog. So, I'm trying to get the capsules as close together as I can to get a good representation and a good A-B comparison. It's going to sound as good as we can possibly get it in this application, but the only difference is that A to D converter. Out of this silver one, it's all digital. Right into this box, which is a digital mic interface from Neumann. What I talked about a little bit earlier was the digital microphone comes out AES-42. It's a digital protocol. It's different than what these boxes, the Pro Tools boxes, can take. They take AES-EBU. This is not AES-EBU. This is AES-42. It's splitting hairs, but it's different. So this box right here changes it to AES-EBU, which is what Pro Tools can recognize. This box also allows me to plug in my laptop and use a software program to control this microphone, which is what I'm doing right now. And later you guys can come up and look at it. I know it's small, but my microphones are coming up here. I have gain, I have polar pattern, phase adjustment, high pass filters, compressors, pads, blah, 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 all in the software program. So this box does a couple of things. It allows these microphones to talk to non-AES-42 equipment, which is what most of the stuff in the market is now. And it also gives us software control. So, that makes sense a little bit? So then the microphone goes into this box. Box kind of converts the signal a little bit. Out of that box into the Digio 3. And then we're in the computer. From the capsule on out, it's digital. The entire signal chain is digital. That's the difference. So the conversion is done right there. So when the sound hits the capsule, it's immediately converted. That's the magic. That's where it grabs everything, and it's dependent upon a Neumann A to D converter, which is a very high-end converter. So the regular KM184, the analog, the black color one right next to it, it's coming out analog. We're plugged into my True preamps, True Systems mic pre's. This is a company we distribute. I have literature here for it. For you guys that weren't here earlier. These are just very clean, natural, non-colored mic preamps. That's why they're called True. They're very true, and we can actually pass this around if you want. This is a little single channel unit you guys can take a look at, which we're not using, but same technology. 8 channel, single channel. These just at least give me uncolored. They give me all the same, so I can, when I'm comparing analog mics, I can compare on the exact same mic pre. For me, it's easier just to show a good comparison this way. I could have easily gone into here, wouldn't have sounded as good, but it would have done the trick. It wouldn't have really made a difference. This way I get to show this off too, which is kind of cool. So, and then the other thing, these other two over here are Sennheisers. So, Sennheiser owns Neumann. I discussed this earlier, but in case you're wondering why I have both companies, it's all one big company basically. So the one on the outside here closest to me is analog. It's about this big. It's called an MKH8040, and that's again going into the True Systems and right into Digi. And the one on the end, and you guys can feel free to come in and take a look if you want. Feel free to step up here and take a look at it closer. You guys can sit up here if you want to. We can move. We can move some chairs.
Come up.
Yeah.
Want to come up?
Go for it. This is just propped up here.
chair
Watch
there?
your back. Settle up, partner. Watch your back. I don't want you to jab yourself.
Yeah, just put it on the floor.
Good. You'll be my level guy. Got a Pro Tools operator. I got a level guy. So just so you know, you can click on gain.
We just need an artist.
You know, fader comes up. Or you just go up and down. Let's see. Yeah.
Just let you
So
know,
I'm not going to try to level set.
I'm not certified.
There you go.
Shut up, Richard.
So
Shell on it.
right next to the Analogue MKH 8040 is a digital version. So it's a lot longer. It's double the length. So basically, and I don't have, I don't have another one here. I sent all my other ones away. Never mind. I was going to take this apart and show you. Basically, the capsule is this big, and you screw off the connector. And you can either put an analog connector or a digital connector on. So you just choose what you want to use. So in this case, same exact capsule. One's analog output, one's digital output. And so again, the digital's going into this box, doing the conversion for our Pro Tools rig. We're controlling it with the software program. So we're going to record all 4 mics. In somewhat close proximity to each other, so you can get an idea of what the sound like. So, Neumann monitors, if you guys can also see what we have under. Could you move them? Oh, no. So, Sennheiser owns Neumann, which has been for quite a while. We also own a company called Klein & Hummel. And Klein & Hummel is a German speaker manufacturer. The Klein & Hummel name we got rid of. They've been making speakers for, they were the first company to make a powered monitor in 1960. It was probably as big as a car. It was, the first company, now we powered monitors, I mean, everything's a powered monitor, right? They were the first ones to do it way back in the day, when amplifiers were big and not little teeny things. So, we got rid of the Klein & Hummel name. Neumann is now making the studio monitors. It's all the same engineers, the same everybody. It's just Klein & Hummel's gone, Neumann's in their place. That's why we have Neumann monitors. And these are the first Neumann branded monitors that you'll see and that you saw at AES, you heard them there. So, and then there's other various sizes that we have, and we'll be coming out with new ones and things like that. So pretty cool. So we'll be playing back through these. Maybe we'll do vocal stuff after this. We'll see if we can. I don't know how much time do we have? How long is this?
Well, I told from 4 to 7. So
Oh, okay, so we got a while. Okay.
Some people will have to leave. Some more
Yeah.
will come in, and
Okay.
we'll just keep going until.
And I got a bunch of mics with me that we don't necessarily have to plug in, but I have 2 mics with me. I have other digital mics. When we do some vocal stuff, I'm going to plug in a tube mic. I'm going to plug in that really expensive digital mic that I got. And we'll try a bunch of different things. So if you guys have questions as we go,
Female
ask.
singers.
Female singers? Yes.
Yep.
I see those are ported speakers. I hear stuff about ported speakers giving off these harmonics that make things untrue. How do these compare to that?
Anything with a port is not accurate. Let's put it that way. Yeah. We ideally you don't want a port. Ideally, ports though give you a lot more SPL and a lot more bass response.
Right.
We make a 3-way pair of speakers that are kind of double the size of that. They sit horizontally. They're not ported. They're extremely accurate. These are accurate, especially for a ported box. And we actually moved our ports to the bottom. We had them on the top in the old versions. We moved them down to the bottom. These are actually really accurate for ported boxes, but to get super accurate, you have to take the port away. But then you lose SPL and you lose bass response. You lose not bass accuracy, but bass level. Yeah, I personally like my favorite speakers are our 3-way speakers that are unported. But people that need loud monitors can't use them because they don't go loud. That's not what they're for.
So what do you feel about? I've heard people talking about stuffing the ports to kind of.
No, because then
It was designed for that.
You've gone away from the acoustical design for it. Yeah, because it's if they were designed properly, the ports were thought about like ours were, and probably most people, and they were designed properly with the ports. I would never stuff them. I would just.
So you just make it worse.
Yeah, you're totally going to make it worse. Yeah, absolutely. Either buy an unported box or buy a box with a port and live with it. Yeah, if you guys know what he means by the ports, I guess the holes at the bottom there. Yeah, and if you put your hand up, you'll feel air coming out of them. It's moving, it's pushing air. So yeah.
You said that they weren't designed to go high levels. Would you use them in the speaker setup for 6.1 mixing or like surround mixing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Center speaker or something like
Yeah,
that?
and I mean, when I mean design, not designed to do high levels, these things go up to about 115 dB, these little teeny guys, which is pretty loud. Which is louder than I need personally. I don't mix loud, and I recommend everybody not to mix loud if you can. Learn to mix quiet, please.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't ask you to say that, but I keep telling them that.
It's amazing the difference. I'm telling you, do yourself a favor when you're checking mixes. Turn your level down to the lowest that you can possibly get it where you can hear everything. And I'm not, I'm talking low where you can have a full conversation over what's playing. And see if you can hear everything in your mix. That's the true test, is a low, low, low volume. Cranking it up only makes it worse. And then when you crank them up, you interact with your acoustical surroundings, which we're all in our bedrooms for the most part, which aren't good acoustically. And then all of a sudden you're cranking them up and you got stuff bouncing off the walls in your bed and your dresser and everything else, like I do in my basement. The lower the better. So the three-way speakers that we have that don't go as loud as these two-ways, even though they're double the size, they're a lot more accurate. They still are, for me, they're plenty loud. I do a lot of hip hop stuff personally. And I have guys that come over that immediately think they want big and loud, and that's what they're used to. And they get used to the three-way speakers that I have and me playing them at a reasonable level, and I have guys leaving saying, I've never heard hip-hop speakers that sound better in my life. It's just not taking their head off. Because I tell them that's not what you're supposed to be doing. If you want to hear club speakers, take the mix to a club and turn the club speakers on. That's not what we do here. We're mixing, we're doing a professional mix, and then they start listening for what they're supposed to be listening for, and they're like, oh my God, how come nobody uses these for hip hop? Because they don't go loud, and that's the first thing people think, is that I need to crank them and feel the bottom end. But you can feel the bottom if you do it properly, and if the speakers are able to reproduce it. So those speakers can go loud, but they're not going to take your head off. And we have some that will. I have four-way speakers that will blow the door off, but I don't use those either, so I can sell them. They're like 20 grand a piece, but feel free to buy them if you like.
I'll give my credit card.
Yeah, I'll take credit card before I leave. That's fine. These are only about $1,500 a pair, so these are a lot more reasonable. So
that's what those JBLs were, $1,500.
It's not even college kids.
Yeah, I know. Well,
We have the $80 range.
yeah, I mean, nothing. No, we never will, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but that's just not what we do. But anyways.
Is there a coupon?
Sorry. That'd be good. No coupon. And the old version of these were even more. They were about $2,000 a pair. So these are we actually were able to bring the cost down on these, which is nice. The three-ways go up to about $4 grand a pair. The big three-ways are about 10 grand a pair. Then you go up and up and up and up and up. So, and we're not even at the high end of the spectrum. Some people make stuff that's even way more than these are. So, but it's you start, and you'll realize this when you get out in the world. You hear the differences. You hear the difference between a $400 pair of powered monitors and a $2,000 pair of powered monitors. You'll really hear the difference. Now, if you can afford it, it's a different story. And if you can't, then you live with what you got. You live with the Mackies that you're used to. Because really, I mean, I have an old pair of unpowered KRKs, passive, that I have an amplifier for, that I've had since I was at the studio. That I know them. They're not any good. I mean, I wouldn't say they're good at all, but I know them. So I can reference on them if I have to. And then, but I don't use them that often because they're just not good at all. But anyways, you go with what you know, or you go with what you can afford, and not everybody can afford that type of stuff right out the box. So, any other questions? Or one at a time? Yeah, yeah, you can do that. No? Let's hear them. Let's do it. We'll play a little bit because we're gonna see if we can get the levels at least somewhat similar.
One's a little hot.
I don't have analog. Yeah, I have analog.
Hotter than that.
Your analog sounds good. I mean, you're a little quiet.
We'll see.
Oh, good. Digital's down a little bit. Down?
Yeah, a little bit. Analogs are almost similar. It's almost.
Give me that K84. Bring up like 2 dB.
The 184?
Yeah.
How's that?
Looking pretty good now.